All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Welcome, welcome, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
And feel free to introduce yourself in chat. Name, where you're from, how you're feeling. The cat is making himself comfortable to watch. One of my favorite people from Georgia.
We got a good crew here tonight.
Yeah. Michigan, Tennessee. We actually got our fuck fascism signs at convention.
Yeah.
It seems to be a theme in our Zoom window.
And our lives.
I ordered a new shirt for our No Kings that says "Keep the immigrants, deport the racists."
Sweet. Love it, love it, love it. All right, well, we're 3 after. So, in honor of everybody's time, I think we'll just get going. I'm so appreciative of everybody here for joining us tonight. This is an important call for our organization and our team. And first, just want to thank Lee Helberg for helping us put this program together and for always helping to make these democracy briefings amazing and productive for everybody. Thank you, Lee, and to Jamie, of course. My helicopter beanie. Yes, sorry, it's warm here. Nothing I can do about it. I'll center my head on the helicopter. Here we go. We are, for those of you who don't know, DemCast USA is a 501c4 nonprofit organization dedicated to defeating right-wing propaganda in digital spaces and lifting up a pro-democracy message. And we do that via all of you. You use your social media accounts to help spread pro-democracy messaging and beat back their bullshit. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. So thank you all so much for being a part of this movement and this community. DemCast literally would be nothing without all of you. So thank you so much.
Make sure you guys stick around after Nick because we have
Yep.
the whole scoop on No Kings 2.0.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you, Jamie, for saying that. After I talk about some of our organizational pivots on messaging, we're going to talk about the No Kings Day 2.0 that's coming up and how we can all pump that up and make the crowds as massive as they need to be.
And Nick, we do have one comment that the fan is causing issues with someone who has seizures. So
I will turn it off. Hang on a sec. Just 1 second. Boom. All right. If I start sweating profusely, please just have some empathy. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. I have a slide deck. I'm going to talk a lot about where we are as a movement and as an organization and how we are approaching messaging and how we have been for the first 7-8 months of the Trump administration and how we can change that or improve what we're doing and hone what we're doing so that we're more effective going forward. So I am going to share my screen. Okay. So, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining this conversation. What I want to do in this conversation is talk about where we are as a movement, how DemCast and our community can reframe how we've been approaching talking about Trump 2.0 through three different lenses, and then talk about we've always been kind of an amplification network, but there's an opportunity here and really an imperative to build out more of a curation team in addition to our amplification. So I'm going to talk about that and what that means for our mission as an organization. And then as I'm talking, I'm just going to mow through all this in as expedient but as helpful a way as I possibly can. But drop your questions into the Q&A as I go, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. Okay. So where are we? Oh, God. Sorry, I put a picture of him. That's a party foul. He's everywhere. He and his MAGA zombies are destroying our country. And it's disheartening. It feels like a lot. It's overwhelming. It's sort of soul curdling. And it has made a lot of people, not necessarily here, but maybe to a certain extent, the people here, at least at times over the last 8 months, want to shove their heads as deep into the sand as possible, so that we can just like whistle past the graveyard and pretend this isn't happening. But what's happening is not pretty. The stacked Supreme Court decision this morning that says like, yeah, you can just like racially profile and pull people over. That's fine. Like none of this is good. and we need to acknowledge that, but we also need to think about how best to strategically approach the fire hose of shit that is pointed directly at all of us all day, every day these days. So we as an organization have a lot of power. We have tens of thousands of activists who have signed up either via the digital drumbeat or to our text messages, or who have fully signed up on our volunteer form and joined our signal groups and all that kind of stuff. Like we have a lot of people who engage in a lot of different ways, and literally it's tens of thousands of people. And so we have a social media reach in the millions, and it's across all social media platforms. It's a really, really, what we've built is extremely powerful. We've had billions and billions of content views over our years since we founded in 2019. And we just have to acknowledge that, hey, in today's day and age, especially with younger generations, like social media is how people are getting their news and forming their views. And so having a coordinated messaging army of our size is an asset to the pro-democracy movement, and we have incredible power. The question is, how should we use it? And what content should we spread? This is something that I've been wrestling with really since Trump was inaugurated. And so this is sort of a conversation about our current thinking on that. So our challenge as a community, how can we avoid just feeling like we have to constantly be vigilant and looking at the news and seeing all the terrible stuff that they're doing, like from the agency level to the White House to Congress, to the Republican Congress. Like it is literally a fire hose of shit, and it's tiring. And spouting, like basically like relaying that information as though we're trying to report on it on our social media feeds, what that does to us is it burns us out and it burns our audience out. Yes, they're doing all kinds of terrible shit, and uh, and it's extremely disheartening. And it feels like we have to be vigilant and talk about that and report on it and make sure that everybody knows all the terrible shit. What we're proposing here today is that there's a yes, we need to tell people what's going on, but maybe there's another way that we can frame it, another way that we can think about it, another way that we can talk about it. How can we inspire people to stay engaged? That ostrich with its head in the sand, you know, how can we keep people from wanting to just like play Minecraft or whatever, watch 80s sitcoms, whatever we do to get by. How can we, kind of what I was getting at, how can we spread the truth in a way that's strategic? And, I don't think that constantly shoving terrible news in people's faces online is necessarily strategic, even though technically we're informing people about what's going on. We need to win hearts and minds. Like, some portion of the public has to turn against these motherfuckers. Forgive my language. And so how can we win people over who strayed or who have been voting for the MAGA agenda since Trump was ascendant? And then let's give people some things to do. Like everybody's like, what can I do? What can I do? Like I hear that all the time especially from like politically adjacent friends who aren't super connected and who are really trying to bury their heads in the sand. And so I think that's another sort of challenge that we need to face. So what we're talking about is reframing our work away from just saying like, and not that this is what we've been doing like specifically as an organization or as individual activists this whole time, but just from like that sort of hyper vigilant, oh my God, this is what they did today, and this is what they did today, and this is what they did today, and the EPA and the Justice Department and blah blah blah. Like kind of get out of that do loop, that circular situation in our brains, and think in terms of more helpful lenses of what the news is telling us. So we want to hone our content, the content that we are sharing as individual digital activists online. And so the way that we're going to be sort of pivoting as an organization is we're going to focus on spreading content that aligns with three lenses: resistance stories, and I'm going to talk about each of these individually. So resistance stories, impact stories, and action opportunities. Okay. So now we'll go into what each of those things are. So lens one is resistance stories. And, the thing is that like authoritarianism feeds on despair. So let's spotlight the everyday courage of Americans who are standing up to MAGA and the MAGA agenda. Let's give people ways to engage in what's happening that come from a position of hope. So that can look like spotlighting protests and mobilizations that are happening, going on to Instagram Reels and TikTok and finding those moments where people are mobilizing in the streets. Just focusing on everyday people speaking out. This could be people at a town hall that have something to say, or people who are providing testimony at a city council meeting. Workplace and labor resistance, so strikes and working people standing up and standing in solidarity against the assault on the middle class and the working class by the corporate oligarchy that keeps growing stronger and stronger every day. Community solidarity. This is uh, citizens noticing that ICE is in their neighborhood and coming out in droves and screaming shame at them and getting it on video. And we should be spreading that video across all channels. And I'm just providing examples of what these categories mean. There's a more comprehensive list that I'll share. Whistleblowing. Anybody from federal agencies or anybody who is standing up and saying something that cuts down the authoritarian regime. Our leaders on offense. There's plenty of people across the internet who say with regular frequency that Democrats are do-nothing wimps. And sure, there are some do-nothing wimps in the Democratic Party, just like there are do-nothing wimps in the Republican Party. But we also have some people who are loud and proud and very eloquent. And so lifting up those voices every moment we can. Talking about the wins, like when there's a court decision that didn't happen today, but when there's a court decision that goes against what Trump is trying to do, or when when they fail to get something passed through Congress that would have really hurt people, right? Humor. I think we should be leaning into humor. I really think that we should be embracing shaming and mocking authoritarians, because it really helps to cut them down in a way that talking about their everything that they're doing that's bad just doesn't. Make fun of them. And then cathartic pushback is just like, if they fall on their faces, if their side does something that just makes them look ridiculous, it kind of fits into the cultural resistance and human category. But just embrace that moment and talk about it a lot, because that's good for morale, and it also sort of helps to make them look like they don't know, that they're ineffective and they don't know what they're doing. So that's resistance stories. That's our first lens. Our second lens is impact stories. So this is about the Trump administration is going to try and do everything that they can to hide the human cost of their policies, and corporate media isn't going to tell the story, so we need to. So the mom who has a child with a disability who's afraid that their child is not going to be able to be served adequately by the public schools anymore because of cuts to the Department of Education. People who are relying on research-driven medical interventions to stay alive, but NIH funding is cutting their ability to stay healthy. There's so many examples of ways that there's a human cost to this regime, and instead of focusing on what they're doing and all the time, try and focus on how it's impacting people. So first-person testimonies, these could be vertical videos on Instagram Reels or TikTok of people just talking directly to the camera. It could be interviews, it could be testimony in a city council or town hall setting. Healthcare harms. There's going to be a lot of these. A lot of people are losing their healthcare because of the big ugly bill. Impacts on families and children, from education to pocketbook issue, economic issues. communities that are getting harmed, whether this is from FEMA being underfunded and not being able to respond to the upcoming hurricanes that are going to be happening in hurricane season here, to ways that ice is pouring through and decimating communities that used to be vibrant and healthy. International impacts. This can be, cut foreign aid to USAID, decisions that Trump is making from a foreign policy or military perspective. Obviously, economic impacts is super, super important, and it probably should be at the top of this list. This list is in no particular order. The economy is going to get really bad, and it's already getting bad. Costs are skyrocketing. People aren't able to afford their rent or their mortgage. And wages have flatlined. People are going to start losing their jobs to all kinds of different forces, from the tariff bullshit to AI and all kinds of stuff. And so people vote on the economy. We really need to hone in on economic impacts. In fact, tomorrow there's going to be a social storm around Trumpflation. So stay tuned for that. Impacts on veterans and service members. Like, everybody loves our vets, and the policies of this administration, from the cuts at the federal workforce level to cuts at the VA, are seriously harming our vets. Not to mention the new proposed rule of cutting all abortion services at the VA for our veterans and their family members. Honing in on communities that need the most support, making sure that we're lifting those communities up and talking about the deep impact that's happening on the ground. And then, to whatever extent we can, providing visual or explanatory content that tries to educate the American public about what's happening and why it's happening, and making sure that people know who to blame for these impacts. So that's the impact stories. The third lens is action opportunities. So we've through our resistance stories, we've lifted up our movement. We've tried to help them remain hopeful. We've told the story. We've sort of painted the picture of what it looks like to resist an authoritarian regime through our social posts. That's really important. Through the impact stories, we've talked about the true human cost of the authoritarian, fascist, MAGA agenda, and so now we want to give people things to do. We want people to feel like there are opportunities for action, and so while we also want to do these actions as individual activists, our role as digital messengers is that we can help spread these opportunities for action. Okay, so we want to help make people feel less helpless and give people things to do that matter. So signing up for events, marches, protests, making sure that people know how to and have tools to contact their congresspeople, contact their local elected officials, show up at town halls, other kinds of volunteer opportunities, trainings. If people, if there's a training on nonviolent resistance, or training on, how to engage at a town hall effectively and get your message across, stuff like that. Like making sure that people have access to those resources and sharing those opportunities to get trained in our social feeds. All calls to action for the pro-democracy movement. If there are voter registration deadlines or other kinds of reminders, making sure that we're spotlighting our candidates and our leaders and opportunities to support them, whether that's through donation links or ways that they can get involved in campaigns like postcarding, phone banking, all those kinds of things, and voter registration. So those are the three lenses. It's the goal here isn't to stop talking about bad things, but just when we talk about what's happening, talk about it in a way that's helpful, and from a particular lens. So an example from today, this terrible Supreme Court ruling that came down around immigration enforcement officers being able to basically racially profile people and pull them over. That's scary as hell. It is. How can we talk about that in a way other than just talking, like saying like, we're like, oh shit, America's going to hell in a handbasket on our social feeds. Share the dissenting opinion. Share in the days and weeks to come the inevitable viral videos of people getting pulled over unjustly who are American citizens and being harassed by law enforcement because they have brown skin. These are the ways that we can talk about what's happening in a way that is a little bit more productive than just saying all the bad shit that's coming out of this the MAGA regime. Okay, so that's the what, right? That's the what are we going to focus on as an organization? And of course, like you as individual social media activists, you can always talk about whatever you want on your social feeds. So what we're talking about here is just what DemCast centrally is going to focus on and the kind of content that we are going to curate and get to you guys so that you can spread it across the internet. So curation is key going forward for us. And so we want to find content that highlights solutions over problems to the extent that we can do that. That reflects a diversity of voices, and that means marginalized communities, communities of color, LGBTQ communities, and also, from a persuasion perspective, if we're wanting to bring back young men into the fold and help sort of dissuade them from the MAGA influence of the manosphere broadcasts and all that kind of stuff. Picking up content that's created by young men 18 to 30, so just making sure that we're reflecting in the content that we curate and that we disseminate as an organization and as a digital army, the array of people that we need to both mobilize but also to persuade. We want to center humanity and values with our content. Lean into humor. I said it before, but we need to make fun of these people. Just going to say something else. We need to make fun of these people. We need to mock them, and we need to put them in their place. And humor has a very disarming way of doing that. We want to find content that comes from all social media platforms. So there are a lot of people who are TikTok people and they just go to TikTok, or they're Instagram people and they just go to Instagram. They're Twitter people and they just go to Twitter. So by curating content across all the different platforms that fits in with our three lenses, we can cross-pollinate it and bring that TikTok content over to Twitter and bring that Instagram content over to Threads or Facebook or Blue Sky or wherever. So we want to cross-pollinate across all social media platforms. We want to find content that is clear and accessible. So clear meaning content that performs well tends to just use really clear language and in a compelling way. And then accessible can mean accessibility in terms of, that making sure that we're, to the extent that we can, finding content that has subtitles and alt text and all that kind of stuff. Or if it doesn't have it originally, when we find it, adding it before we disseminate it. We want to elevate local stories to national relevance. So sometimes some of the most impactful stories that are out there are things that people are doing in various corners of the United States. There were some videos earlier today from, I think, Arkansas, from farmers who are saying, like, China won't buy my soybeans, I'm screwed. Like, lifting up stories like that to show that those impact stories. And then making sure that what we're sharing is verified and accurate. That's a sort of a vetting process that we need to make sure we're doing when we're curating content, so that we're not spreading deep fakes, we're not spreading videos of something that purports to be from yesterday, but it's actually a video from like 10 years ago, that kind of stuff. And that takes some vigilance, and we've always tried to do that centrally, but it's an important part of the puzzle. So we are going to be recruiting really a brand new curation team. So we've always been about amplification, amplifying content, spreading it across the internet, amplifying each other's content. But to really enact this, because a lot of the stuff that's out on social media is more the like content. And so we really need to do this well and to make sure that this works and that we're sort of spreading content that's helpful for the movement and helpful for the moment. We really need to up our curation game. So we are going to be creating a new curation team. There is a form in our links document that we're sharing in the chat. And where if you're interested in like, I like finding content online, or I could see helping to lead a curation effort at DemCast, you can give us your name and your email and we'll follow up with more information as the curation team sort of comes to fruition. We're early stages isn't quite fair. Mid stages of developing our team and process and framework and all that kind of stuff for the curation side of things. So that's going to all be happening in the next few weeks. So if you're interested in curation, go ahead and fill out that form. I also included in the links doc a rundown of the 3 lenses that I just went through, and lots of different examples, like more than I provided, lots of different examples of the kind of content or the kind of stories that sort of fall into those buckets. So feel free to peruse that, and so that you can sort of absorb and think about where we're headed here. And so that's basically it in terms of our org pivot. The mission here that's listed, amplify resistance, reveal the impact of authoritarianism, and mobilize action, ensuring the fight for democracy is seen, heard, and won. And I think if we as a community, really embrace this and do this, I think that we're going to be, we're already super impactful, but I think we're going to be even more impactful than we've been during the first part of the Trump 2.0, when we've all been just trying to get our sea legs about how to respond to this, especially in an online context. So that is my presentation for now. I'm going to stop my share and then maybe take some questions, and then we're going to talk about the
No kinks.
no kinks. Yeah, after we do some comments and questions.
So, what are your suggestions of what we should do about the Supreme Court to show them how lousy we think they are?
That's a great question. It's a tough one. The Supreme Court is it's a really tough one. I think, like, to a certain extent, John Roberts cares about his legacy. I don't think really the other five conservative judges give a shit. or they're deluded into thinking that their legacy is going to be fine because the MAGA movement is going to be successful over the long term. And they're basically unaccountable. So yeah, the SCOTUS is a tough one, but I think especially on the impact stories side, making sure that all of the shitty decisions that they are coming to, that any story about how that's impacting people on the ground, and dispatching that across the internet and making sure that we're not letting them off the hook, SCOTUS off the hook, and laying blame to them is what we can do from a digital perspective. Now, there are great advocacy organizations that work on holding SCOTUS accountable, and we'll partner with them when we can.
We are in a coalition on that, so it's been tough right now. So because it's mainly been shadow docket. So
right.
So next question: why not an actual movie blockbuster that spots what's happening in America? I would say follow Brave New Films, because they do short documentaries on what's happening, and they're incredibly powerful and impactful. And they'll do short clips for social media to actually do longer ones where you can set up an actual viewing of that with your neighbors. So, and the next question, I'm not sure if we're the right ones to answer. How to avoid using the F word in front of polite society? So,
don't watch the Dangerous Ones podcast.
And don't follow me on social media or go to any of my rallies.
Yeah.
I may have led a few F-bomb chants.
Maybe we can circle back to this post-Trump era. Polite society isn't really a thing right now.
And we do create a lot of our posts. We do make sure that there are some mellower for people to feel more comfortable, along with some ones that do F-bomb, so that there is something to share for everything. So, and then everyone's favorite topic lately: what do we do about keeping the Epstein files in the news feed?
Keep it in the news feed. I think making sure that we're continuously sharing the perspective of the victims of Epstein is really important. Again, impact stories.
And the Republicans that are speaking out.
Yep, absolutely. There are some people who seem to actually be concerned about this, even on the other side. So
I thought I had died when I agreed with Marjorie Taylor Greene the other night. So, should we be trying harder not to use and repeat media that uses their words in propaganda? Yes.
Yep. Unfortunately, media, and honestly, even going farther than that, to the extent that we can without propagating what they're saying, calling them out, calling out media outlets for kowtowing to Trump is really important in this moment. Like we need to shame Republicans, we need to shame media who aren't doing their job.
And the next point I have to say, I'm so glad someone brought this up, because I so agree with this. Demonstrating in our stories how democratic values match legislation. Because Republicans always talk about their values, but they don't legislate their values that they say.
100%.
Thoughts about a sign-on letter to SCOTUS. Petitions, it would be incredibly hard to deliver that to SCOTUS, and I don't think they would care. So, honestly, a lot of those sign-on letters and petitions are really just a means to get your information. So, I don't think that they're that effective. I think what's more effective is actually having people write personal letters and delivering that to your Senate or congressional offices on the impacts of what they're doing and how it affects them. I'm in a red state, and we read some letters to John Curtis's staff, and we actually had them in tears. So keep an eye on reaching rural folks, absolutely. And social media, rural folks are the hardest ones to reach because they are least likely to be on social media. But Facebook is critical for that one. I heard recently that you should share a link that you agree with, but use a screenshot for something you don't.
It depends. If to a certain extent you could, even by sharing a screenshot of something that you don't agree with, you could be propagating that. So, in a certain circumstance that can that could be effective depending on how you present it. But yeah, in general, you just have to be careful with how you treat that, I'd say.
One thing we've done in the past very effectively is doing that kind of screenshot in juxtaposition of like what Democrats are doing so that you're actually showing a contrast there. Hope we won't be complaining that Democrats are not doing enough. Probably depends in the moment. Have you thought about doing some type of virtual resistance fair to spotlight how people can take action? Actually, we are in talks of doing something like that with Field Team 6. So stay tuned.
Awesome.
I'm a baby social media poster. I'm only on Blue Sky and Nextdoor. They're probably useless to spread the word. Nope. So.
Yeah, no, literally any place you are is an opportunity to influence people. We have to remember
Nextdoor is great for local.
Yeah, Nextdoor is great for local. And Blue Sky is great. Like, it has its place. And if you do a post on Blue Sky, one of your followers or one of the people who see your post because one of your followers shared your post could screenshot that and take it over to another platform. They could use what you said and go and have a conversation with somebody in their life. So never underestimate. Like, we need to be loud everywhere. Everything is important.
Well, why don't we go to No Kings because we're losing people,
Yep.
And then we'll go back to any questions if we have time at the end.
Sounds good.
So y'all heard No Kings 2.0.
I need to share my screen again.
Yes. Okay. So y'all heard No Kings 2.0, October 18th. Right. This is really building on the last momentum. And so we are very excited. The map has done a soft launch today. There were technical issues. So we're trying to vet over 400 events tonight because DemCast is a very proud partner. But we have a very simple message. As the president escalates his authoritarian grab, the No Kings nonviolent movement continues to rise stronger. We are united. And one of the key messaging of this is we're going to continue to rise. We're going to get bigger. We're going to get stronger. This is not a moment. This is a movement. And we're hoping that we can get that 3.5 magic percent. Because if 3.5% of the population mobilizes, change has never failed. So, next slide.
Yep.
So we want to make this clear that there's no dictators or kings. We will never bow to them. And the estimates are about 5 to 7 million took part in June 14th. So we're hoping to get that up even bigger. This thing is growing. I'm organizing the Salt Lake protest. We've barely advertised it, and I have gotten hundreds of messages about it before it's even up on the map. So this is the excitement, and this is where y'all can come in by really helping to share the word. So, but we have 3 key points going forward. Power belongs to the people. We don't have kings. It belongs to us. It does not belong to billionaires. We reject this authoritarian rule. We will not accept abducting immigrants, deploying troops in our streets, silencing voters, defying the courts. And the only difference between right now and Nazi Germany is the resistance. It is people like us who are out there sharing the stuff that are on the streets. And our last point is we're here to stay. We're going to keep growing, we're going to keep building, and we're going to keep rejecting these. So we have a social media toolkit. I know y'all are shocked by that. This is the last one. And unfortunately, the last sentence was added because of Utah. So core principle is a commitment to nonviolent action. We expect everyone to de-escalate, even with those who don't agree. And weapons of any kind, including those legally permitted, should not be brought to events. Again, please do not bring weapons to event. So,
bad things happen.
Bad things happen. So here is our toolkit. By tomorrow morning, there should be over 400 events on the map. And this is before it has been publicly announced. So this is how amazing this is. These are basically the trusted organizers where there's not a lot of vetting involved. So right now there's 11 on the map, and they are the 11 anchor cities. Missouri and Montana are the 2 red state anchor cities, which is very exciting. There's also Atlanta, DC, Los Angeles, I think Philadelphia, Hawaii. So it's very exciting. So if you don't see one on the map, you can post your own. And you will notice that in all of this, we are using source codes. And the reason you want to use these source codes is because if a source code is attached to an event sign up, no other organization gets that data. And so you will not be added to any email list, because y'all here know how great we are about sending emails. So you will not get spammed with emails if you sign up or you share the link using our source code, because we do not do anything. We will not share that data, where there are over 150 groups. And so if you share from a group that you trust, and then we've got 2 great videos in this toolkit. We have the Dangerous Ones announcements. If you don't like the F-bomb, you probably don't want to share that. But we also have one of our great partners from New York created a No King song. The local artist wrote this, and they did updated videos, and there's different links and even different singers. So you can share from a quick 30-second clear up to a 2-minute and I think 50-second video. And it is so fun because it is literally no kings in America.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So everybody share the heck out of that toolkit. Like Jamie's got some pause. coming in the side of her picture there.
I got the cat his own bed on my desk. So
that's so cute.
See if I could, so I had more room to work. So
everybody shared the heck out of that toolkit. Let's make sure. Let's make the No Kings one was the big, by most accounts, the biggest protest in American single day protest in American history. Let's blow it out of the water. Let's blow it out of the water. Like make it sad and small in comparison.
Yeah,
and we can do that if we talk about it with all of our communities.
And I'll say Blue Sky is a great place, but I will say the last No Kings event, about 2 weeks out, we had just hit 300 events, and most of those last 1,500 happened in the last like 14 days. So the fact that we're 5 weeks out and we already have this number of events is amazing. I mean, in Utah, we had 18. We had little tiny red communities that had 20 people holding signs. And talking to them after 20 people, if you're in Portland or Salt Lake or LA is like, that's not a big deal. But if you're in a small red town, 20 people is a big deal. And because it also lets people know that they're not alone. The first time Boulder did it, they had 3 people, and then it went up to 7, and then it went up to 20. So that is a huge impact in a small town.
Yep. Absolutely. No protest too small. All right. Well, we've been dropping the link to the notes document. That link will be included in the follow-up email to this from Zoom from this event. So you would have in there the slide deck that I presented, the slide deck that Jamie presented, the 3 lenses rundown, the sign up for the curation form. All those links are on there. And
social media toolkit is on there.
Social media toolkit for No Kings. So go dive into that. Make sure you're using all those resources. Tell your friends. Let's build a movement, guys. You are the most amazing activists in the space from my perspective, and I can't thank you enough for all of the work that you put in online on a daily basis. And then we have a big role to play in the fight ahead.
And one last thing is Reach now has a public gallery where we have been adding clips in every day. So bookmark this link. It is in chronological order. So when you go onto it, the last one added is the first one you'll see. And we have really trying to do clips that are right in line with this. And so far has been very successful. And if you want to see the DC church bells ringing as the protesters walk by, that video is in there. And I'm an atheist and it gave me chills. So.
Yeah, no, definitely check that out, the daily news clips. And as we build up our curation capacity, there will be all kinds of new content coming in on the Reach side and on the social side. So stay tuned. We're ready to go to battle against these people. And love all of you.
We do have a question on what to wear. You can wear whatever you want. I have a collection of t-shirts for protests. My one for the next protest, I ordered one that says "Keep the immigrants, deport the racists." So
I have a secret that I will tell you all now because I love you. I was just in the Dangerous One studio this afternoon, and we are designing a No Kings Since 1776 t-shirt that looks pretty awesome and is going to be available shortly. And we'll make sure that you guys get that link. And all the proceeds help make all this machinery go on the DemCast and
make sure you have a women's option instead of just basic tees.
We will.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
And if you're in Salt Lake, we're doing a march. So be kind to us.
We're doing it everywhere.
We're
Let's
doing
go.
it everywhere. I've never been in charge of a 10,000 person march before. So.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.